Good morning, Connection Point Church. Thanks for taking the time out of your day each day to watch these daily devotional videos. We hope that they're a blessing to you. If you've been able to watch the last two devotionals that we've released from Pastor Todd and Pastor Toby, you know we've been exploring the heroes of faith that are written about in the 11th chapter of Hebrews. Pastor Toby told us about the faith of Noah, and Pastor Todd told us about the faith of Abraham. And today we're going to continue with this same theme as we talk about the incredible hero of faith, Moses. And we're going to see how important decisions are in our life. We're going to be reading this morning from Hebrews 11:23 through 27. It says, "By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden for 3 months by his parents because they saw that the child was beautiful, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He considered the reproach of Christ greater wealth than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward. By faith he left Egypt, not being afraid of the anger of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible." Yeah. Sorry for wearing a hat and all these. All I can say is that quarantine hair is for sure a real thing. In what we just read, we see two vital choices that are made that end up shaping the history of the world. In fact, the first choice wasn't even made by Moses. It was actually Moses' parents. Two Israelites serving as slaves underneath the Egyptians choose to hide their son, therefore defying the edict of the king. You see, we read in Exodus chapters 1 and 2 that a new Pharaoh had taken the throne in Egypt, and he had become wary and even scared over this quickly growing population of people known as the Israelites. In Exodus 1:10 we read, "Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply, and if war breaks out, they join our enemies and fight against us and escape from our land." By this verse, we can read that the Egyptians were scared of how quickly the Israelites' population was growing, but they didn't want them to leave either. It was free labor that they could exploit for their benefit. So first, Pharaoh ordered that the Israelites be subjugated heavily. This led to the enslavement of Israel, but this wasn't enough for Pharaoh, because then he ordered that all male children of the Israelites be killed upon birth. And in Acts 7:20, we see that Stephen says that Moses, when he was born, was beautiful in the sight of God. So it's very likely that in this child that was born to them, Moses' parents saw something great that God was going to do. So they made the decision to defy the edict of the king, hiding away the child for 3 months. And then when they didn't think they could hide him away any longer, they placed him into a basket and placed that basket into the Nile. They made a decision that resulted in short-term suffering. And we have to understand that this is an act of faith. By obeying God and deciding to hide this child, defying the king's edict, they faced real danger. Well, as we know, their choices result in Pharaoh's daughter finding the child in the Nile and taking him in as her own son. And grow up as the son of Pharaoh's daughter he did. He grew up in luxury, in stark contrast with the life of slavery that he would have grown up in if his parents decided to keep him and he would have survived. He grew up with everything that he could have wanted, and he grew up right with his people in sight so that he could see clearly how much more fortunate he was than his own people. Moses chose to give up his honors in society, his place among the people of Egypt, his reputation, his adoptive family, the pleasures of the world that he had at his fingertips. And he gave all of that up to instead be identified with a bunch of slaves that the Egyptians despised. Church, this is why our decisions matter. I'm positive that in their human minds, Moses' parents and Moses himself, their decisions seemed like they were only affecting their own lives, and they weren't going to be affecting anybody else, but they still chose to make those decisions. The fact of the matter is that we don't have the big picture. God does. We can only see so far ahead on that lighted path, but God sees the whole tapestry of life. And what we can also learn from both of their decisions is that, yes, their decisions, they led to short-term suffering. Some of the decisions that we make, if we're trusting in God and we're following in what He's asking us to do, they may lead to short-term suffering. But the decisions that they made, though they started with short-term suffering, they led to eternal blessing. Though it may have seemed like insignificant decisions that were only affecting their personal lives, it was anything but that. Church, this is true for us today. I'd like to challenge you today. Spend time with God, listen to what He's trying to tell you, and then follow through with those steps that He's asking you to take in faith. It is true that some of the acts of faith that we are asked to take by God, they can result in short-term suffering in our lives. But we can rejoice wholeheartedly through trials of any kind because of what Jesus Christ has done for us. We love you, Connection Point. I hope this has been a blessing and an encouragement to you. Let's go throughout our day, putting our faith in the one who gives us hope. Be blessed.